Coming up on this episode.
I try not to. I feel like I think it's gotten to a point where I don't want, like it started to get to me kind of like the numbers.
What do you mean? Like you're tracking them?
Not tracking them, but like after a while, like you can't help it. It's just like one of those things, like you pay attention to the numbers because you're like, oh, am I doing good? Or like, are people liking me? Or like, and then it gets pressure? You feel a little bit of pressure, but then I am trying to get to a point where I don't, because I started it as something I love to do because it was fun and like it was a hobby of mine. And it's like, it's so seamless because it was fun. And then it started to get to like, oh, like, am I like, are people liking what I'm putting out?
Cheers it up.
Oh, cheers.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers to everybody in the room. Tay's not drinking. This is the first time that anyone else has been in the room with me recording, so I'm excited to do this. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I like your sweater.
Oh, thanks. I like yours.
You already did, right?
Yeah. I was like, you have to turn it. So good.
Is it weird that I look at Dewey when my cat purrs?
So, how do you wash it though?
I don't know. I just got this 2 days ago, and I'm hoping the battery burns out before. No, I'm gonna keep pressing it until it dies, and then
maybe you can just take it out.
Throw it away.
Hopefully.
Can I wear this again next year?
Yeah, of course. Why not?
I don't know. You're the fashion guru. I have a whole stack
of like ugly sweaters.
Really?
Yeah. I love Christmas.
Do you make them? Or do you buy them?
I buy them. Oh, I wish I made one year, and it was.
What did you do to make it?
Well, I just did. Well, so Dewey and I didn't have ugly Christmas sweaters.
Yeah. So
we improvised, and I just used like the garland and ornaments, and
I
made myself into a tree, and I made Dewey a present.
I think I saw that. Did you post up the photo?
Yeah,
I did see that.
It was like 4 years ago. It was a long time.
Yeah.
But after that, I was like, okay, I need to go get myself an actual Christmas, like ugly Christmas sweater. Nice. And it's so much more fun when you go like vintage shopping for them.
Do you vintage shop? I cheat.
It's been a long time.
I buy it from Target.
Oh, it's okay.
They have
great ones.
All right, you heard it here.
They do, yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to you because you're in this process of starting your family. I think besides Tay and I, you're the first one to get married. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
What is the biggest difference between being in a relationship, dating, and being married? Because you have a couple years. You guys just had your 2nd year anniversary.
Yeah, our 2nd year.
Gorgeous
marriage.
photos.
Yeah, thank you.
I love them. That's a hard shoot to do.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it was. It was so windy that day.
Where'd you do that again?
White Sands. We did White Sands, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. Yeah, we drove. Oh my gosh.
How far is that? 12?
It's like
16 hours?
Like 10 hours, I think.
24 hours.
10 hours. Oh, it was like 10. Oh no, it was like 12 hours, I want to say, but yeah, like 10 hours.
Gosh. So what is the biggest difference then between dating and being married for 2 years now? What's the lesson learned?
There's a lot.
Really?
Besides the whole like living situation, well, just because like I've never lived with Dewey's my first boyfriend.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, Dewey's my first
boyfriend.
boyfriend.
No way.
Yeah.
Dewey's my first boyfriend. Uh-oh.
Wow.
Wait, did you live with him before? I don't know, guys. Did you guys live together before?
No. I had stayed with him a couple of times, but never lived.
Who else is doing that, Dewey? That was like, I haven't lived with them. Chris was telling me that. Like, him and Daisy didn't live together until they got married.
Yeah, so
that's insane to me.
Mm-hmm. So very big life adjustment.
But you had roommates before?
Yeah.
Any male roommates?
Yes, actually.
So what's the difference between a male roommate and Dewey?
Besides
sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah, besides sleeping in the same bed. Because we have our own spaces, where this is like doing our whole house is ours. When you have a male roommate, it's just you're like sharing space in a refrigerator, or like you have your own like cabinets and things. You don't do each other's laundry, that kind of that'd be kind of weird, but you get it. So this is like all everything together.
In your house though, do you have separate space? I know Dewey has the office downstairs. Do you have a space for you?
Well, we share it. Everything's
okay.
Yeah, we share pretty much everything.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I work in the office right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
I have to have my own space.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, this space obviously.
Yeah,
but then even if I didn't have the podcast or work, I feel like I would need a space just for me. That sounds super selfish.
No.
I don't know. So when you first moved in with Dewey, was it everything you had hoped it would be?
Oh no.
Really?
I mean,
Spill the beans about Dewey in front of his face.
I mean, we've you know, we both grew up differently. Like, not in a bad way. Like, we're both Vietnamese and, like, grew up with a lot of those same cultural things. But, like, obviously his mom taught him to do things different than my mom taught me how to do things.
Did you guys fight about dumb things like how to do the dishes?
Yes. Oh, my gosh. Dewey has this one pet peeve, and I totally get it, but he has this pet peeve where if you wash the dishes and you know all the food that gets stuck in the little the catcher thing, if you don't throw it away right away, he gets so irritated about it. And like, why would you wait?
Like it out. Like, what are you doing? Like, why would you wait?
Like, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I usually do it at the end of the day. So like, if it's not caught, if there's like not a ton of stuff, like, I don't know. It's one of those things that like my parents like never really like did.
It's crazy because you probably didn't even notice you did.
Yeah, I never noticed until he got on to me about it.
When you do the dishes, do you leave the food in the little holder? And in the sink?
If it's not full, obviously. If it's not clogging up the water and it's just like a couple things in there.
I think Lan's a psychopath.
Like, thanks, guys. Thanks. No,
but it's funny because you probably don't even think about that, right?
No, I don't.
A lot of Vietnamese families, they do that. Like, they'll leave that little thing there.
I thought you were going to tell me they leave it there to save the food.
No.
Like, that's like such an Asian thing to do. I know, but that's like, why would you save it?
No.
Why wouldn't you just throw it away? Okay, let me ask you this. Do you guys close your cabinet drawers and cabinet doors?
Of course. Of course. We close. I mean, I feel like if I left them open, I'd be like hitting it and stuff.
You don't have a mic. This is why you're here, so I can call you out. I love it. What is the biggest difference as far as your relationship goes? Like, do you find that... So, I don't know, because I've lived with Tay for 3 years now. 4 years? 5 years now? 5 years now. I've lived with her. It's like since before we were dating, she was always at my place and then lived with me, and that's how I knew we were dating, because she moved in. Like, that's... Tell me not. Am I wrong?
Okay, wait a minute. Let's talk about this.
Nope, you don't got a mic. It's okay. but that's why I'm like, you know, I've known what I've known bugs me about her and what I bug her about since moving in, right? And so now when we eventually get married, it's like, for us, I can't imagine it's going to be very different. Except for maybe I walk around my underwear more.
Or the fact that you can't leave.
You're right. Yeah. Like, what is...
Yeah,
and he's your first one, right? So, like, that's a real culture shock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a really big culture shock. I mean, like I said, it was, like, obviously navigating marriage, navigating, like, living together. So, it was just a lot of little things. But, I mean, I think the good thing is, like, we've gotten much better at communication, you know?
That's a good thing.
Because of those little things.
Yeah.
But it wasn't easy at the beginning. Like,
do you guys... I don't know if I can ask this. Do you guys have a shared bank account?
Yeah, we do.
Did you have one prior to moving into marriage?
No.
Oh, interesting. I'm guessing you guys have a shared account and then also separate accounts for whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, no. So
what's
just
hers
do
is
now
yours and what's yours is
mine.
Hers.
Is mine.
Hers is hers and what's yours is hers.
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
Respect, bro. Respect. Happy wife, happy life.
I mean, it's always worked towards that. It's just, I just felt like I have my own student loans, and so I wanted to take care of them myself.
That's interesting.
Because he had his student loans. He took care of them himself.
Yeah.
Like, I just felt I wanted to do that for myself. So.
I respect that. So let me ask you this then. Is a marriage 50-50 financially? In your opinion. I don't want to put you, like, speak for everybody.
Yeah, you're fine. What do you mean? Can you expand?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you first start dating, there's always the conversation of, does a guy pay or not, right? And I feel like somewhere as you begin dating, that conversation continues to happen and it develops in its own way. Yeah. So I'll share, I pay for majority of the things still. But Tay is always really good about offering. She always reaches, right, for her wallet, purse, whatever. Yeah. And as we get married, I still, because financially I make more, then I take on more, and she contributes in other ways. But that's our relationship. Yeah. So, you know, now that you guys have a shared bank account and you're seeing each other's expenses and everything, I mean, does he get on you about Amazon packages and stuff? You know, that's what I hear like married couples say is like, oh, you know, he shut off my Amazon account.
Spot on about that. I mean, you're spot on about that. But I think you're right about like taking on other things. Yeah. Because, like, I find it like I purchase all like household items. Like you know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Like I dress Dewey now, so
Do you
I
really?
buy his clothes.
That makes so
you know
much
what I mean?
sense why he dresses better now.
So yeah.
Well, I never see
you
what
know,
clothes on, period.
Those, but okay.
No, but
those things,
that
like-
makes sense. That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you guys been married 2 years now. We talked about sharing this already. So you're trying to start a family.
Yeah.
So it's been 3 months. What is without the details? How's that process like? How did you decide it's time to have a family? How do you know that?
I mean, we roughly talked about it,
Yeah.
how long, we wanted to we wanted to travel. Like a lot of people after they're married, some people want to have families right away, and there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's
sure.
just we wanted to travel, and obviously COVID happened, and honestly, we weren't gonna keep pushing it along. We were just
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
So
yeah.
that's pretty much what, we roughly were oh, let's start trying in 2020.
I remember.
but we never,
you talking about that last year, right? Around this
Yeah,
time.
right.
That's so fun.
Yeah, and so we just kind of were we'll just start trying. If it happens, it happens. And then after the first couple months, we're this is actually a lot harder than it's.
Yeah.
It's not an easy process.
It's not easy to get pregnant.
It is not.
I know a lot of people will if you have sex and you get pregnant.
Yeah.
It is not
No.
easy. So you said you started tracking your cycles
Yeah.
and everything like that. I'm sure Dewey's probably saving his nut, right? He's just, can I say that? I mean, I'll censor it out if you need to. Sorry, grandparents. Sorry, Elijah. But, all these things. So how do you feel knowing, actively knowing you're going to be a mom 9 months after you become pregnant?
Oh, I'm super excited about it.
Are you really?
Yeah, I am.
Have you always been excited about being a mom one day?
No, I mean, not that I never thought about it, but it was always
Yeah.
it was just when it gets there, then it's how do I feel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I never didn't think I wouldn't be excited, but
Yeah.
now that it's happening, I'm oh wow, I might have a little baby Elijah. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That is.
You're so cute with him.
Oh, I love him.
Both of you
But
guys.
yes, it's
He
just-
loves Dewey. He loves Cooper. And seeing you with him, he loves you too. And it's I can see how excited you are around him and to have your own kid.
Yeah, no.
So you can take him anytime you want.
Anytime you
Well,
need a
sorry, Taylor's
babysitter.
don't take him. Nice.
Yeah.
But can I ask this? Because I didn't even think about this too. We were talking about work earlier, and that's such a different experience for a woman who's working professionally and then has a family and starts having kids. What are your thoughts? How are you feeling about going to that transition? Because for me, I was hey, I'm taking paternity leave. I'm taking 30 days PTO. And everyone's you're amazing. You're great. You're awesome. And then I also know, because my team was all ladies before, and that conversation felt so different when I was having those calls with HR, hey, my girl's leaving. I need to sit down. And it was very formal at that point. So I don't know. What does that look like for you?
I think it's so hard to say because everybody's oh, how do you prepare yourself as a mom? You can't prepare yourself as a mom, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to, as much as possible, but you just don't know. You don't know what's to come.
Right.
But I mean, being a working mom, I hope to do both. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I feel as much as any other mom, I want as much time with my child as
I
possible.
love that. Here's my next question. You ready? You're probably the most
Go
famous
for it.
person I know.
Oh, that's
Personally.
funny. No.
Well, let me put it this way, and I mean that I'm joking, right? I'm joking, but the fact that I think you're one of the few people that I would consider really being a social media influencer, right? A large following, right? So how many followers do you have now on IG specifically?
I'm on 38K, I think. 38.
That's crazy because a few months ago you were at 31, maybe 32.
Oh,
No, maybe like last year, but
I honestly
Really?
don't really. I try not to. I feel it. I think it's gotten to a point where I don't want. It started to get to me, kind of the numbers.
what do you mean? You're tracking them?
Not tracking them, but after a while, you can't help it. It's just one of those things. You pay attention to the numbers because you're oh, am I doing good? Or are people liking me? Or And
You
then
feel
it gets
pressure?
you feel a little bit of pressure. But then I am trying to get to a point where I don't, because I started it as something I love to do. because it was fun and like it was
Yeah.
a hobby of mine. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's so seamless because it was fun. And then it
Okay.
started to get to like, oh, like, am I like, are people liking what I'm putting out? Or like, am I gaining followers? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it started to get to that pressure, and I didn't like that. I don't like that at all.
I thought you slowed down a little bit. It seems like. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I
you
definitely
have.
slowed down this year for
Was
sure.
that conscious?
Not because of conscious, because of everything, because of like COVID, because of everything that was going on. You know, just I didn't feel personally like. I understand. I do not judge anyone for, you know, if they do this full time. Like, I'm still supporting people.
Yeah.
But I personally do not feel that it was my place to like keep,
Oh.
you know what I mean, keep
During
posting.
COVID.
Yeah, during COVID, during just
Yeah.
like so many things. Like, I stopped for
Yeah.
like 6 months.
So why did you start initially? Like, what did you like doing? Like, how did it even pick up? Like, what were you trying to do?
So, I mean, funny story. Okay, so I actually started this in college.
Okay.
Back then in 2012.
Okay.
And it was me and one of my high school best friends.
Yeah.
So we were just like taking pictures of each other's because we were like, we enjoyed fashion like even in high school.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, we should do this. It'll be fun and it'll keep us connected.
You and her.
Yes, me and her,
Oh,
because
so
it was
actually
like
super sweet.
Yeah, it was just like something for us to bond over and like to keep each other like, oh, like you post an outfit and I'll post an outfit and like we'll talk about it and like also kind of like
That's
the trends
so
and
crazy.
things.
Yeah, okay.
But then it got too much for her as well, and then she wasn't like, not that she wasn't into it, but she was like, no, you can just keep doing this. Like, I feel like you enjoy this a lot more than I do.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, well, you know, and so I kept going with it, and she always like gave me input on like things like that I posted and stuff. But anyways,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, and then that's pretty much how it happened.
Really?
Yeah,
So when
and
she
then-
falls off, what's the follower count? Ish.
Oh, it was like around 2K.
That's still pretty good already.
We were trying. I mean, we were.
Like, are you psyched? You're like, oh, that's 2K people.
Yeah, for sure. We were both hyped about it. It was like
Man,
really
it's so
fun.
insane. So she drops off. You keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And what people don't know, or what people might not know, is you take a lot of your own photos.
Yeah.
That's huge.
I mean, Dewey helps me a lot now.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does. He does. He helps me a lot.
Aw.
And then, you know, when he can't, like, it's actually, Houston has a really great blogger community.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we actually help each other.
Really?
You know? Yeah. So I've met a lot of bloggers actually that way. Like, we've
I've
sat
seen you
down
link
at
up
coffee.
with a lot of people, it seems like.
Yeah, because, you know, and like, I've met just so many great women because of it. And yeah, we all like help each other. Like, hey, like, I have, you know, a campaign I need to shoot, but like, don't get me wrong, I don't want to necessarily pay for a photographer.
No, I
you know,
get it.
for like
I get it 100%.
that kind of thing. So I'm like, oh, sure, like I can meet up with you to help. And so we like link up and like help each other.
That's amazing that there's such a supportive community. Yeah. Because we were just talking about how, you know, corporate life is not always that way, especially from like women to women.
Yeah.
Women to women.
Women to women.
Yeah, and it's so cool that as creatives you guys are linking up and you're getting done. Because your photos are really good.
Oh, thanks.
Right? And I'm always like, who's taking these photos right now?
Definitely a lot of learning experience,
Yeah?
for sure.
So out of all the photos you take, how many of those are timed, like off the timer?
Probably like 50%.
That's a lot. Because I imagine...
Tripod life.
Yeah. I love that you did that. But I'm trying to imagine, like, so it's like a 3 or 10-second timer. Which one?
It's a 10.
A 10?
For
Okay.
sure.
Okay, so 10, you're going around.
We'll do, I mean, I'll change it up depending on, I guess, like where I'm at or like,
Oh,
you know what
okay,
I mean? Like if it's in
public or
the,
not.
yeah,
Oh.
public or not. If it's in public, you just got to keep like 3 seconds, right? It's got to be quick. And
Okay, my question is, how many shots are you taking for one post?
I mean, it can be like 100, 200.
No way!
Yeah, 'cause you
200
don't know, I
photos for
mean-
one shot?
It could be, yeah,
But-
because depending
but you
on
know
the
what, though?
others,
That's
your
crazy. I respect it.
surroundings, you know? It could be like if you're in a place that's super busy and then like, let's say like you think you got the shot and you go and look and there's a person that's like right behind you.
Oh.
You just
We
never
gotta
know.
get your brother to teach you how to Photoshop people out.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I think that's so cool because in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's like 5 or 10 shots on a 10-second timer. That's 100 seconds. So, you know, like less, 2 minutes, but you gotta review and everything, right? So, like 10, let's say 10 minutes of work, and then you might get a good shot.
Yeah.
And you're saying 100 shots with the 10-second timer? What's the math, Lane? You're way smarter than me.
I mean,
It's
and
a little bit, right?
It's a little bit, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
But that's
a lot
so,
of work.
but it shows though, because every time I look at one of your photos, I'm like, you could tell you put time into it. I think that's why you get so many followers, because it's not just, you being your great personality and everything, but also because you, I think you take time to learn and to do the things.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, I mean,
Appreciate that.
You walked in and you knew the cameras that I had. Like you.
I mean, you always gotta learn, you know. Like
I feel like people don't.
I feel like you have to ask questions. Like you have to, like I didn't know what kind of camera you had, right? And I've never seen it before, so like, why not ask? And then you give me some insight that I never knew before.
Yeah.
Like I always think that's great.
Dogs.
So yeah.
That's so crazy.
But,
so, a lot of people are like, I don't even know this. Like, so a survey recently, maybe in the last year, we're asking high school kids, what do they want to be when they grow up? The number one answer was, what do you think?
Influencer?
Yep.
So
Influencer, right? And it's crazy because you've done this. You have a decent size. I mean, I say decent humbly, like a really good size. By just starting with your friends, right?
Yeah.
And now they want...
Had a really great support system.
Yeah, and now people are like, this is what I want, right? So why do you think people are so attracted to that job or that profession? Or y'all call it a profession because you take a lot of time.
It is. It's a lot of time.
Why do you think people want that so much?
I mean, I think it's interesting that you're saying it's the number one thing,
It was. I think by a long shot is what I heard.
But I think maybe it's because, like, not because it's not, it's, like, so fun and so great, like, so creative, like, your creative outlet,
Yeah.
And I think it's, people, honestly, or I think kids, I'm sorry, these days, it's the number one thing because if you think about it, influencers have their own niche, It's not just fashion. Like, it's anything that they have a passion for. Like, if you have a passion for anime, let's say anime, or games, like, they can get on and talk about games. They can be an influencer on games that come out, on, like, it's on electronics, like, oh, you love cameras.
Yeah, I watch so many electronic videos.
And that's why it's like their own niche. Like, it's not even like, I want to be like someone else. It's like, I'm kind of trying to find my own thing and, like, let me love my own thing and be passionate about it. Again.
Cheers again. Take 3. I'm going to get drunk like Dewey's episode. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. And he's like drunk and he starts slurring.
Oh, it's the best.
Or he gets his fob. His like fob. He forgets his English.
His accent comes out?
And he forgets his English.
My accent comes out when I get nervous.
Oh, really?
I had to give a speech in college one time in front of an auditorium
No way.
at like a Greek festival.
What?
And I don't even have a fob accent. That's the problem. I was born and I'm like raised here. And then I was like, I can't even do it because I don't have one. When I watched back the video, it was so bad. Oh. It was so bad. So bad that someone in the audience was like, choo, choo, choo. And I was like, what the? I never had an accent. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Funny.
If I knew what I knew now, I would just lean into it. Like there's no point in being embarrassed about anything.
Yeah.
Like if you just own.
Public speaking's not my thing.
What?
Yeah. Oh my
what
gosh.
are you talking, Lan? What are we doing right now?
I don't know. No, this is great. This is like what I feel comfortable. Like I know I have never
it's
been.
The drinks.
Yeah, that too. But oh my gosh, I don't know. When it comes to public speaking, if I don't have a speech prepared, I can't just go up there and. He is great at that. I
have no problem doing it normally. That one time, I was just like, I wasn't ready. I was there just to watch, and they're like, we need someone to present this. And I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, so. Anyway.
Sure. It's okay. You learned from it, and obviously you're good now. But
I mean, I'm fine with it now. Like, I have no problem BSing something. Like, it's whatever.
No, not me.
But
I have to be. Yeah. I feel like I've gotten more like that when I've gotten older, though.
Really?
Yeah.
You like even more so?
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger, maybe I could have done it more. I feel like when I was in high school, like, I felt like I was kind of fearless. Like, I sang on stage. I did all this stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I used to be in, like, choir, and I would
I've heard you sing at Genji's.
Oh, at Genji's? Yeah, and, like, I would just not be scared to do those things. It was just, I don't know. I was never scared to give speeches in high school. And then I got to college, and everything changed.
Why?
I don't know. Honestly, college is kind of a rough time for me.
Because, relating back to you being an influencer, right? And then it's like, you're in the public eye, though.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed now. I mean, it's like, it's weird. You, like, go through different phases, and then you learn, and then, I don't know, but, yeah. I remember in high school, it was, like, kind of easy. Like, not easy, but just, like, more natural.
Yeah.
College was just completely no. Yeah. And now it's gotten back to, like, a little bit better.
That's good.
Yeah.
Do people expect you to be Really?
I feel like people expect you to like know what to say and like
all the time.
yeah.
Because you're, I mean, consider like a, back in the day before
Public
there was,
figure.
yeah, exactly, a public figure.
Yeah.
You know, you see somebody on the street, you'd be like, oh, they must be good at it because I saw them on TV, and now it's on my phone, and Lan always looks put together, and like, you know, I see your spots on, you know, on your partnerships and your brand partnerships, right? I'm like, oh, she's like, these are really good talking points. Like, she's doing a really good read right now.
Thanks.
You know?
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely don't want people to think that because it's not all like sparkles and you know, it's not easy.
I would love to talk more about that because did you watch? I'm assuming you watched it, The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
What did you think about that? Knowing that you were
When
like,
I'm on the opposite side.
yeah, like you get a really good part of it because with 38, almost 40K, I feel like you're in a really good hybrid spot where you have a lot of attention, but you're also not like in the 1Ms and the 2Ms,
Yeah.
right? Like the people who are like the Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, like she's.
Or the YouTubers.
God bless her.
YouTubers.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It's like a whole nother game. Like
Yeah.
Instagram and YouTube is so, you know.
It's
YouTube is a whole
insane. I had no idea it was gonna be this way, you know, years
I don't
ago.
think anybody knew it would be this way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So when you start watching The Social Dilemma, right, a documentary really around kind of what you do, how do you like? What's your first take on that? Your first impression?
Honestly, like it made me feel kind of bad.
Really?
Yeah.
Why? So almost like the way those interviewees were like feeling guilty about creating it. Move this a little closer. Well, why were you feeling bad?
Yeah. Well, it made me feel kind of bad because like, I don't know. I mean, this is fun for me. This is like I enjoy it, you know, and I just like want to share that joy, and I want to share like I just don't. I guess I don't. I mean, maybe this is like my just optimism, you know, like oh, like I want everything to be good and dandy and stuff. It's not all good and dandy all the time. I'm just saying like. Because I enjoy this, I want people to enjoy it too. But I don't want people to be immersed. Like, I don't want their whole lives to be about it. You know? Does that make sense?
Okay.
And I don't want people to because they're saying like how it's like affecting the younger, you know, the younger generation and how they're judging themselves. And that is like not at all what I was expecting it to be, if that makes sense.
Can I jump in for a second?
Yeah, of course.
And I mean this in the most respectful way because Dewey, my lover, is here next to you, next to me. Because you're beautiful, right? I mean, you're a very attractive lady, woman. Are you self-conscious at all about when you post things like,
Oh, of course.
like body dysmorphia? Is that what it's called?
Of course.
Really?
I mean, I am always. I mean,
But
But-
the reason I ask is because you're also not, like, you're very tasteful in your outfits. And I think,
thank you.
like, when we talk about fashion, like, you're not always taking a less is more approach when it comes to like fabric, right? Like I feel like you're really putting full outfits together, and that's why I love seeing your work. And I'm like, okay, well, she gets it. Like she puts the whole ensemble together, right? Yeah. You know, and so you're not like in a bikini being like all the time, right? So that's not how your following happened.
No. Yeah. I mean, that's how I've just always like felt like I love putting like different ensembles together and everything, but It should just be like if you feel good in it, you know,
Yes.
like I feel like that radiates from from you, and that should just be it. Like it could be a t-shirt and jeans, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be like I like styling, you know. I think it's fun. Like that's why I do it. This is my outlet from my my full-time job, right? And it's so fun to see fashion and like everybody else's style and like me curate my own style, obviously. But at the end of the day, like you don't feel like you have to feel good. Like you have to feel good about yourself, you know?
So what about, and you mentioned it, like the younger ones, I guess even the older ones who are looking at social media and they're, you know, comparing themselves to people that they see, whether it's you or anybody else. Yeah. Like how can they do that in a more healthy way? I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not trying to trap you here.
No, you're fine. I mean, that's it's a tough one. I think like it's so hard for us to not compare to. I mean, because I do it too. Like
I think it's natural.
It's natural, for us to like. That's what I was saying about the numbers thing. Like, you don't want to look at because you start comparing yourself. You're like, oh, what am I not doing? Like, why is this person growing so much, but I'm not growing?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's like how you know, like I started to look at things where I'm just like, no, like I just do this purely because I like it, because I'm having fun with it. I want to share my joy with other people. Like I want to encourage other people too. If anybody, you know, is like, oh, I'm thinking about starting a blog, I'm always like, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like,
just go.
Just go.
Yeah.
Like always. It's easy to say like, don't compare yourself to anyone, you know, than to actually do it. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to remember like what you stand for and like why, like if you are doing like social media, you're like, why you started doing it? Like why it's fun for you, right?
Yes.
Like why, like what is your message? What did you want? Like if you had a daughter, what would you want her knowing? Like what do you want? I was going to ask you about
that because you're, you know, trying to start a family right now.
Yeah.
And it's all, you know, coming back full circle. So let's say you have a daughter, right? Because I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think, you know, from what I understand, young girls are way more conscious about the way they look than young boys are, right? Yeah. So if you have a daughter, mommy is an influencer. I can only imagine how well you're going to be doing, you know, if you choose to keep up with it, right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you parent that? How do you be like, I don't know. What does that conversation look like? Because I ask this selfishly because, you know, Taylor and I are going to try another baby next year as well. And I in my gut, in my nutsack, I'm like, it's going to be a girl. Like I just feel like it's going to be a girl. Like it's deep down in my loins. I'm like, I think we're going to have a girl. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't be mad about it. I would love her to death, you know, the way I love Elijah and probably more. Elijah will not be the favorite. Oh my god!
I can't imagine when you have a girl.
Oh my gosh!
Mm-hmm.
But for you, you know, and you have a different dynamic in your life where not only are you trying to figure out where your child's relationship with technology is going to be, right? But also, mommy and daddy are successful, right? Or they do well on these platforms, right? I mean, well is being relative, right? So how would you parent that? Like when, let's say you have a daughter and she's 11, 12 and she's like, I don't know, asking for a phone and an Instagram account or something.
I guess when the time comes. I mean, it's so hard to navigate that right now, you know, because so far along and we have to adapt, you know, to situations and like how things are going to go. But I mean, I guess we can't leave them in the dark either, you know?
Oh, like, interesting. Okay.
Like, I don't plan on, like, shutting the world out, if that makes sense. I think knowledge is power. So I think, you know, them knowing things and, you know, like, knowing how social media works, knowing what everything that's going on is, I don't plan to shut it out, if that makes sense. But, like...
So when do you think because Tay and I have this conversation all the time. Like, when do you think... As if you had a child right now, because things might change.
Yeah.
Not right.
Right.
A child right now, when do you think is a good age that you would give your kid a phone? A smartphone, let's be specific.
Yeah. And that's difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so different these days.
It is. When was your first phone?
I didn't get my first phone until I was, honestly, I think high school. No, I'm sorry, 8th grade. Because I was in sports, and my parents couldn't, you know, get a hold of me.
You were out, and you needed,
and so that's
Was it one of those Nokia brick phones?
No, actually,
no?
it was like one of those the blue and silver Samsung flip phones.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it wasn't even mine; it was my dad's. So
with like the 1 antenna on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't even get my own phone. Like I just got to borrow his.
Yeah.
So I would just use his whenever I would go anywhere.
Yeah.
Use the landline called landline.
It's like, well, if Elijah, you know, was taking part in extracurricular activities and stuff, and like, or even at home because we don't have landlines anymore.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't have landlines anymore, and it's you know, like how are we gonna get a hold of him if we're at work and he's at home by himself, or I don't know, like.
Yeah.
It's so scary.
It is. It's a lot to navigate for sure.
So as a user, you know, the documentary was like showing us how addictive it could be. Mm-hmm. As a creator, what are some of the ways that you feel like, I mean, I don't know, does it pull you in? Because I know it definitely does for me a little bit when I'm making stuff.
Yeah, it definitely pulls me in because it's like that creative aspect. You see like someone making a new video or like a new, right?
The comparative piece again?
Yeah, and then not comparative, but like you're like, oh, that looks fun. And you like want to do it too because you're like, how did he do that?
Okay, yeah.
So like that was like my mentality, not like, oh, like they did that, I have to do it too. Not like that kind of
That's
mentality.
such a healthy way that you're talking about. Though.
Yeah.
Like the healthiest way possible.
Yeah. And so I'd hope that that's what a lot of people are, you know, getting towards. But I think about it as like, oh, that looks fun. Like, oh, do you want to try that? Like, I've been trying to get him to do TikToks with me for a long time. It's never going to happen. But
do the TikToks. He's not even paying attention to me.
But yeah,
I told you should be like. Oh my God, he's playing chess. You should be like that Fox News guy in the suit.
I've never seen it.
Oh my gosh! After this, we're gonna go on social media. This is bad.
Like otherwise, like when they release new things, or you know, like it's more honestly trying to figure it out and like more in like, oh, that looks fun. Like I want to learn how to do that too.
That's why I do it.
Yeah,
because of the video stuff. I'm like, how do they get that shot?
Mm-hmm.
How do they do this? Oh man, I see. This is why
it's
we
more
get
of a
along.
learning. Yeah,
yes,
more of a learning thing than like oh, I have to do more than that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree because not recently, I would say in the last few months, I put up a video with another person and we both put it on separate things. And the first response I got, and I thought it was an amazing product, right? And one of the first responses I got back from that person was, well, they watched it more on yours than mine. I was like, dude, you're missing the point. Yeah. Like, we did something
together.
It was
like fun.
We have a memory together. We created this thing together. And I was like, I think you're missing the point here, right? And it was so unfortunate. I was so sad about it because from one creator to another, I was like, I don't know if I want to work with you right now because that energy is so weird.
Yeah.
But on the fashion side, I didn't know that the blogger community was so strong.
Oh yeah.
So how often do you guys meet up? Like, how do you?
I mean, during
this Facebook group or something? Like, how does this work?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's some Houston Facebook groups. I mean, honestly, like slide into your DMs kind of thing. You know,
really?
I know it sounds weird, but during this time, it's a little bit harder, obviously, too, because everybody has their own level of comfortability and everything. But it's all, you know, it's like when you feel comfortable kind of thing. That's pretty much, I mean, I guess pre-COVID is the best way for me. I've only, like, the blog, like, new bloggers I've met this year, like, I've mainly only talked to them, you know, through my messages. Right. Or, like, supporting each other. Like, that's pretty much, like, the best way right now.
Yeah.
But Houston-wise, because we do have such a huge blogging community.
Oh, really?
We do.
I had no idea.
I think there's, like, over 10,000 bloggers in Houston.
I mean, I've linked up with a couple podcasters and random like photographers here and there, and it was funny because I'll see your brother every once in a while, like in some random things. But I had no idea.
Yeah, it's really big. I mean, then it's not the same niche, right? Like, we could break it down like fashion, but there's also food. There's also
please break it down because I don't.
There's so
I really
many.
don't understand.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's so many different types of influencers.
But you still link up with all of them? Like,
oh no. I mean,
okay.
Like pre-COVID, like I met a lot of them because of events. So that's how a lot of the time when people have events, like, and you attend them, like, you know, you meet a ton of people that way.
Okay.
So that's how I met a lot of, I mean, and then they have like lunches or, you know, just like anything. If you want to put your foot into, you know, like the community or like just blogging or anything, like if someone invites you to it, like, and you,
why not?
Why not? Yeah. That was always.
Well, that's half the fun, right? Like, it's the socializing aspect.
Yeah.
Because it could be very easy to become siloed in it, right? Like just in your own little world, your own little bubble, and you're creating based off of what you see versus the experience. Yeah, I'm only guessing. Sure. I don't know what it's like.
I think definitely, like, and especially meeting other creatives and like people who are passionate about what they're doing, like whether it's fashion or food or you know, like the whole lifestyle, or you know, there's a lot of mommy bloggers, there's dad bloggers, there's men fashion bloggers, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different, there's photographers. I do not rule out, like, a photographer is an influencer as well, you know what I mean? Absolutely. Yeah. So like there's so many things, like meet all those creatives and like kind of see what they're doing. It's always so cool to learn. I think it's always so cool to learn. Yeah.
So how do you think it's going to change or evolve now that you're married and you're transitioning to the next part of your life, next chapter of your life with the family and everything?
I think it's definitely slowed down. I mean, as much as, I mean, before I was like always go, you know, like, especially at the beginning when I first started my blog, I was like, you know, I love meeting. I'm so extrovert. Like, I get all of my energy from people. So I was like 99%. I'm like 99% extrovert.
Is Dewey the same way? Are you an extrovert, Dewey?
Yeah, I'd say he is. But he definitely enjoys like his introvert time.
Oh, that's interesting. because Tay and I are both naturally inverted, or I think as I've gotten older, I've become more introverted.
Yeah.
Right. But it's cool that you lean into that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I definitely like get my energy from people and like vibing and just like especially meeting someone who's like passionate about what they do. Like that is like I love
that's
that.
the best.
Yes, it is. It is so nice. Like whether just anything,
Can you imagine not knowing what you're passionate about like your whole life? That
what?
it'd be so sad. Like just walking by the numbers your whole life and not ever finding that one thing that's like, it doesn't even have to be that one thing. It could just be like the thing at the time that's like, I'm getting out of bed for this.
Yeah.
That's so insane to me. I gotta tell you, as Elijah gets older, that's one of my biggest worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I hope he finds
I think
what it is, and I hope as a parent, I'll share this with you now because you're trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Trying to be a pregnant. What's in this whiskey, bro? One of the things is twofold. So the first thing is I hope he finds what he's really passionate about, even if it's clown school, right?
Yeah.
Like if he's like, this is it, I want to be. And then at the same time, I hope as a parent, I have the foresight and wisdom to be like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go buy you some bowling pins to juggle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that.
Because I don't know, like as an Asian parent especially, it was I didn't get that growing up.
I don't think any of us got
They humored it.
No offense, like we love our parents. We know
absolutely.
that. Yeah,
They
absolutely.
humored it, but I don't know if they ever like. So good example. When I was younger, I used to rap. Cause who didn't? And I would do like all these all ages shows and club shows in high school, right? And so I was doing it, and I remember I did a show. So I was telling my dad about it, and he was like, that hip hop thing, and I was like, oh, we're about to fight, right? Like we're about to go, and like I love the culture, right? And I still dance, and I did a show on this cruise, this like all ager boat party thing, and so we went out to sea, and we're all dancing, and I got to do a spot on the boat, and I'm doing my spot, and this is like it's so bad, and I'm doing the spot, and I'm like, I got like 10 guys around me because that's what you do when you're a rapper. And I look to my left, and my mom and dad are sitting on the boat cruise, like watching me perform. Oh my God. So they were supporting, but they weren't like
into it,
right?
Yeah. They were just like, okay, but we're here.
Yeah,
but we're here.
Yes, right. And then I'm thinking like, are you watching me dance with that girl? Like, what's going on? And so we get home, and my dad's like, he's like making fun of me, like rapping and stuff. But it's so weird because he's not supportive, but he's not like leaning in and saying, I don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
Right?
It has like a story like that too. Like I guess the first time I ever really kind of got that or like understood it.
Yeah.
So I was from a really small town, and
Are you really?
Yeah, I'm from Brenham.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know that is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a super small town. And we have like Mayfairs.
Yeah.
Which are like little county fairs. And in school, like we would always have like I guess like contests for things, and one of them was like a drawing contest. So we would just draw like a rodeo picture every year. Well, anyways, one year I got like a blue ribbon, and I was so proud.
How old were you?
I think I was like 5 or 6.
That's
young. I was super young.
But anyways, impressionable at that point, right?
And I got a blue ribbon. I was so excited.
You could have been an
about
artist.
It. Yeah, exactly. But that's what I had wanted to be when I was younger. So we were at my godmom's house, and she was like, "What do you want to be?" And I was like, "I want to be an artist." And I was like, "Oh, you want to be an artist? No, you want to be a doctor." And I was like, "What?" But like at 5 and 6, I was
Do
like,
doctors draw?
It's very interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So it was like one of those moments.
It's crazy how
like,
you remember those little things, because Drew and I had that great conversation about like how our dads taught us music or like whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like these were like a pivot, like a hard.
And he was like, yeah, he was like, "Oh, an artist? Oh yeah, you want to be a doctor?" And I'm like, okay. Like, so confused.
So what do they think now when they see you, like,
No,
they're.
like as I got older, it was always, I think, they're happy, like as long as I'm happy, and
Really?
yeah, for sure. When I was in college, it was a different story because it was always kind of like, oh, go medical, right? Which is a lot of, I started out with pre-med, And I
think a
didn't end
lot
up
of us
going
did
that
something
way. Yeah,
very-
most
yeah.
of us, I feel like, went that way. And it just wasn't something that I enjoyed learning about.
Yeah.
So obviously why I'm not in that profession now.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I think they just, as I found my way, you
Yeah.
know, like, I think they're like, okay, she's going to be fine. I feel like it was one of
Oh.
those things that was like, oh, like, but they also didn't know, like, I guess a lot of the other professions and what you can do and how much it can lead you, you know what I mean? And
Oh.
how the world's kind of changed today to,
Yeah.
like, you know, making money off of, being an influencer, like things like that, right?
Yeah.
There's so many types of jobs these days. And I think for them, it was always like, oh, this is like, it's a great job,
Yeah.
but also security kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So I feel like they were always trying to just give me a direction.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I found my own direction, and they're like just happy that I found my own
interesting.
direction. Does that make sense?
Do you think they're more comfortable with the idea because you have your other job?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like I think,
Huh.
I mean, I definitely think so. Like I said, like
I think
because
it's fair.
yeah.
As a parent now, I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
oh,
just
I want to
you're-
make sure he's
you're-
taken care of.
Yeah.
And he's not sleeping in his car.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's so weird because as a young dancer, I've definitely like traveled to go teach and slept in my car because the booking didn't cover hotel and everything,
Oh,
but I wanted to go
man.
teach and
Yeah.
you know all these things. But I wouldn't trade that
Yeah.
for anything.
Because it was like an experience.
Oh
and
my
you learned,
gosh, and I
it's
loved
like
it. Yeah.
everything, you know, everything. Just experiences.
and like,
like
you know, eating
anything.
Waffle House at like 2 a.m. because I didn't want to get like IHOP, which is more, you know, like those little things. Hey, buddy. No, you're good.
Okay.
But that's one of those things. I'm like, man, do I like when Elijah gets older, or you know, your child X? I'm not gonna say the name because it says you know,
Yeah.
it has ANDREW in it. But like, I don't know if I want to deprive them of those moments.
Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, buddy. We'll pause.
Sorry.
I need to take a drink.
Sorry.
Okay.
Cooper, baby, honey.
Cooper,
Oh, I love you too. I love you
what do you
too.
want? What do you want?
It's okay. We're doing okay.
Sorry. Oh, Cooper, you're doing so good.
What are you playing? Really? That's not bad. Computer's easy. Easy-ish.
No, these are great questions.
Thanks.
I'm like,
I'm just going off of you.
thanks. I mean, like I said, this was like one of the first times I've ever really done. You know, I've never done a podcast before, but not
I
even
thought
just
you've done
that. Like,
interviews, haven't you?
honestly, it's been a long time since I've had questions like this asked to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
I'm genuinely curious.
Even with my friends, like surprisingly, like we get pretty deep in our conversations, but it's been, you know,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've gotten to sit here.
I'm
and,
glad
like,
you're having a good time.
I'm like, wow.
I'm learning a lot.
I haven't really thought about that. That's why I'm like, sorry, my face. I'm like, wait.
But it's good though. But also the thing I like about the podcast, because it is conversationally based, is, and it's not Q&A, is I get to challenge you a little bit. I get to be like, hey, what do you think about this? Because again, it's selfishly a creation for me and for Elijah. So if you don't know, you know, again, never is it to pin you into a corner. But it's always goes like, I genuinely want to know, what do you think about this? Because I have no idea.
No, and
So
it's,
yeah.
no, I appreciate that. Like I appreciate it a lot because it's honestly things sometimes like I've never even been asked that before.
I just don't know
You
how to
know?
navigate this stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason why the podcast is here, is because one, I know for a fact that my life trajectory has not been typical.
Same.
For an Asian especially, right? Because I think that weighs heavily in how we're brought up. But then also, you know, knowing that, seeing how much has changed since we were younger,
Yeah.
and then imagining how much it's going to change again next decade or two, and then figuring out how to parent that.
Yeah. And having the kid. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And for all intents and purposes, I have a pretty good kid so far. Like he's he's cute. He's like
Yeah.
communicative and responsive and all these things. And, you know, but one day he's going to go, why can't I smoke something?
And you're gonna be.
Right. And he's going to go, did you ever smoke, Dad? And I'm going to go,
Oh, yeah, that's where.
right? And, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I decided I'll be honest, but I had to figure out how to go, yes, but not yet.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know what that looks like yet.
Right.
And all these things.
Which is
And that's why, you know, your conversation and your experience is so different than Dewey's even, because I feel like as he gets older, the role of social media or even, the empowerment and a strong woman presence is going to be something he needs to understand, because the idea of having a woman boss when we were as kids was
So different.
it was different, right? It was far and few, and if you saw one, it was a unicorn, right? And that's it's kind of just the way it was, and that's no diss on women.
Yeah.
But now,
It's just a different
I
time.
would rather work for a woman, right? Forbes did a study that says, women CEOs have more profitable companies in the Fortune 500 world than men CEOs. Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense because of, just generally speaking, the traits that women have over men.
The work-life balance.
The work-life balance, understanding that, but the empathy piece, how to communicate, understand, and get buy-in, whereas a man will typically be more directive on it and won't get the buy-in and be like, hey, this is what we need to do. It's very methodical, right? But sometimes, we have to play to people and understand why they're doing what they're doing and all those other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to have to figure that stuff out.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Hopefully he does.
Yeah, I know. I think he'll be great. I mean, he'll be fine.
Well, yours too. I mean, we have such a great group of friends.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm so excited that, you guys are trying and
Kind of all navigating through.
yeah. It's so interesting too. And I've said this enough where Elijah will know, like, I love that you guys are planning it, but Elijah he's ahead of schedule. So not that he's not planned, but he's ahead of schedule. So we didn't have to try as, go through what you're going through right now. And I can't even imagine as a couple or as a woman, as a lady, as a lady. Yeah, as a lady, what that does for your psyche.
Yeah.
As you're trying to have a child. Did you think it would be easy?
I'm not gonna lie. I was really hoping. I'm not.
Can we talk about this? I don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure. We can start.
Okay.
You wanna...
No, we're already, we'll
okay.
get it out. But do you? Because you've done 3 months, and I told you that it's pretty early still, but I've talked to some women, and they're like, after the first week, they're like, why? They're thinking different things. It's good. It's fine. They're thinking different things. So how are you navigating that new space of trying to be a mother intentionally?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very different. It's so interesting too because your whole it's so sorry. I'm just gonna go back a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
It's like my whole life, my mom was always like, "Oh, you can't have a boyfriend." I was like, "Okay." Some Asian mothers don't kind of threaten you a little bit.
Yes.
So when I was younger, she was like, during high school, if you have a boyfriend, I'll shave your head. That was like.
What?
That was the thing. That was what my mom told me, and I was like, no. So yeah.
And you have long hair.
Yes. Yeah. And it's so interesting because even during high school, right? And then it was only 3 years later I get to college, and she's like, "Oh, have you met anyone?" And it's a 180, and
Who
I'm
was
like,
saying
"Wait,
that? Some
what?"
Indian comic was saying that it's crazy how you grew up and you say don't talk to girls, and then it's like, why aren't you married yet? Out of nowhere.
Yes, and that's really how it was. My mom was like, "Have you met anyone?" I was like, "What are you talking about?"
You want me to date now?
Yeah, you want me? That's exactly how I felt,
Really?
and I was honestly scared. I was like, I mean, not that I didn't want to, obviously, but it was also kind of that feeling of
Again,
I can tell you now.
So different than the male experience.
Yeah. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, completely. I'm sure.
You saw your brother,
I'm not even.
Your brother's his own thing, right?
I'm not even gonna start with that, but
so you're starting to date and all these things now, yeah.
Yeah. No, so that my mom was like, "Oh, are you talking to anybody now?" And then so it's so weird from that too, and then now that obviously we're married, and I'm like, wow, I'm trying to have a kid. It's so weird because I feel like it's not weird. I'm sorry. It's exciting.
It is weird in the sense of it is so different than what you've come to know as normal.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It is absolutely weird.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I mean, you and Dewey have your own home. You have your dog. You have your own lives, your own careers. And now you're going to we're going to add a third person to this mix.
Yeah.
It's going to do extreme things to my body.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And everything like literally
Be
everything
different.
will change.
Everything will change.
Right.
And it's in the most exciting way.
Absolutely.
But it's just the fact that like, oh, I have to plan this out. And I think that's where what I mean by the weirdness, because
Yeah.
I was just like the first couple months, you know, I was like, oh, like I'll get pregnant. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. You thought it was easy.
Not that I thought it was easy, but I kind
Been
of
practicing for years.
But I was just like kind of hoping it would just, happen. Like, and then it started to get to where it was kind of like I started kind of getting a little stressed about it.
Really?
Because
I think that's understandable.
I'm like, wait,
though.
why is this happening right away? You know what I mean? Because but then after that, I'm like, it'll happen when it happens, because there's,
Amen. Yeah.
and I've accepted that, and
That's great.
I think that is the best. Like, we know we're ready for a family, right? And
love
the
that.
timing is gonna be perfect, and it's gonna be right. I'm not gonna rush it, and it's
Yeah.
gonna happen when it happens. And that's like the mentality that I like had to retell myself, like, why am I telling myself, oh, this didn't happen? Because it didn't happen, because it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
Like, but when it happens, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be everything.
Don't worry, guys. Tonight is the night. Don't drink too much, though, because you stop drinking. I don't want any whiskey D out here.
Oh
Come
my
on,
God.
man. No, you're absolutely right, though. And I love that. And not, everyone's path and journey is different.
Yeah.
But I love that you feel like you're ready. In your life, in your relationship, financially, all these things. I love that you feel like this is the time and we can start focusing on this. Because I feel like not everyone's afforded that same opportunity. And that's okay, because it all happens in its own way. But that must feel really empowering to know when this kid gets here, it's going to be loved.
You're loved.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen you with my kid. I'm like, she's going to kidnap my kid. Like, I need an Amber Alert on Alexis. Like, what's going on?
Oh gosh, but Elijah's so cute. Oh,
He is, and I love that he loves you guys.
I'm
his
glad.
auntie.
His back.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hey, dude, would she be called Backland?
That's so weird. I don't want to be
You
called
old.
that. Can you just call me Go? Like, please.
All right, fine. I'll call you.
Yes. Just Auntie Lan is fine. Okay.
That's so funny. Yeah, but I feel like this past year a lot of friends got engaged. A lot of friends are trying to have babies now.
Yeah.
We're about to have a whole gen of just.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's so exciting.
It is.
And I'll say this on camera. I'm so excited to be parents along with you guys, because
Me too.
it's gonna be so much.
It's gonna be wild.
It'd be so crazy, because I've hung out with a couple other parents already, and I'll tell you, some parents are tearing their hair out, and they're like, and you're like, oh my gosh, you were not ready, but you're like, this is different.
I don't know what I'm getting myself into.
Right.
Right.
And there's some that are just completely loving it, for better or for worse, because it's hard.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to go that route with you guys and that journey with you guys.
No, same. It's gonna be so exciting. I mean, I'm like, it's everything's the unknown, but I think having a partner like Dewey and just I'm more ready than I think I am. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and a shout out to the single parents who are working full time, who don't have family around, who may or may not be like trying to further their education and or career, because we talked about having daycare in our lives recently.
Yeah.
Elijah can sign and he's socialized in these things.
So good.
But if I wasn't able to put him in daycare financially, if I didn't have my parents to watch him occasionally, I can't even imagine. And as a single parent, let alone single dad, I can't even imagine what that process would be like. So, it is again. I'm so excited for you guys. It's such a good spot.
We're so excited too.
Oh my gosh, little Andrew!
Wait, do you have a Vietnamese name?
Yeah, you can call him Tim too.
Oh
or a gender neutral name is Taylor. Is what I hear. Hey babe, they're gonna name the baby after you.
I'm honored.
No, we're good. So we'll start wrapping up here in a second. I love this conversation.
Yeah.
I want to make sure it doesn't happen just on camera, right? Because I love you guys to the moon and back. And Oh, we could take a photo of Elijah and his bottles before they leave. In his bed. You got that? Take a photo of Elijah and the bottles.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
We'll
the
get that in.
bottles. The big bottles. Not little bottles this time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, big bottles. So when Elijah watches this back and your little one watches this years from now, what would you want their mom and their auntie to know?
What I want him to know?
Mm-hmm.
I lived through this all. Like I would always want him to encourage him to just always like be positive, because life is hard. But I think I lived through this because staying positive and knowing like no matter like what it is, like things are gonna be okay, you know. Like I think that is like as hard it is to tell, you know what I mean.
Because that's easy to say,
it's
right?
easy to say, yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess in times of like difficulty, you always have like to remember like stay positive. Like this might happen, so something better is gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Can I ask a follow-up question real quick?
Of course.
What do you think your secret sauce is? What is the positive thing that you're like, when things get tough, you're like, this is my gem, that's like my rabbit foot, that I'm like, my positivity that I'm getting through with?
What I'm like referencing to, I guess, is like, I feel like I'm such a positive person.
Okay.
And I have my moments and everything, but at the end of the day,
Yep.
you know, like I'll cry it out, or I'll, you know what I mean? Like I'll cry it out, or I'll throw my fit that I need to throw, go into a room, or whatever it is, right? That I need to get my emotions out. But at the end of the day, I'm always like, I'm going to be okay.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's like what always, I'm like, I'm like always like, things are going to be okay. And like, and everything's going to work out. So
I love that you acknowledge that you're allowed to throw a fit and to feel the emotions.
feel everything. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I love that you allow yourself to do that, but then come back to, I'm going to be okay. It's going to work out.
Yeah.
Because
I think
we got you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
I love it. I think you're almost done already. Do we?